Oh. Oh, well. What's up, 4 people? Scott Akers, man. It's been a while. How are you, Scott? And another Scott. Scott Goff, I'm guessing. Or a Gog. You look tired, bro. Sheepdog, shalom. Megadeth, shalom. McMikey. Zeth4MT. Connor89. Texas Surplus Pro. Free Spirit, shalom, sister. Broke Kansas Farmer, what's up? TRW. Anthony Aiello, man, and here's the everybody's. Franklin Farmstead, shalom, and thank you for the unicorn poop that was mailed in the thing with all the stuff. It was excellent. Guns and Diesel, what's up, man? Bama by the Bay, shaloha. What's up, everybody? Crazy Canuck, shalom, brother. Glad to hear that, Texas Surplus. Ramon, shalom, brother. Hola, mi hermano, as they hablan in the Espanol. How is everybody? OPB, what's up, bro, Chaim? Man, all the old faces showing up tonight. Well, thank y'all for being here. North Jersey, man. You need to go up to Fort Lee. Go up to the diner in Fort Lee. Get you, let's see, what do they have that's good? It's a diner in Fort Lee. They got everything. Joseph Dunn, South Jersey. Sasquatch, shalom, brother. You, David, you. Thank you, William. Yeah, Dirty Roofer, expect meat shortages everywhere. It's coming, man. It's coming. West by God, Virginia. Man, I've been all through West by God, Virginia. Did a project for Allegheny Power out there. Up one side of the mountain, down the other for 168 miles. It was so much fun. Believe me. Took your advice, bought cows. Awesome, Gary. You can just go ahead and deliver them right over here. That'd be fine. 20 gallons of taters, nice. South Bronx. Time to relocate, homie. Time to relocate. India. You've never been to East Overshoe, Indiana? Come on, man. Oh, man. Got the garden going. Butchered our cows a few months ago. Hey, Chevy girl. Garden is going strong. Awesome. West Des Moines. I'm familiar with West Des Moines. Des Moines is. Watchung. Butler, Indiana. Look at this guy over here. Gnawbone, Indiana. How about Rough and Ready, California? Yankee Watchdog. What's up, man? Hey, Yankee Watchdog. My wife needs to email you about sending your kid out. And so the question is, we had a gray bare minimum set aside for you, but we also have a OD and a coyote, I think. Which one would you like? I don't know. She'll email you. We'll figure it out. Don't tell me in the comments because I'll miss it, bro. I'll miss it. There's 253 of our closest friends here. Alex Todd, what's up with you? Haunted is here. Shalom. And Amendment 1 Preparedness with the mighty blue wrench. Shaloha, bro, Chaim. Bear, do you think the city people are all going to flee to Montana and become bear food? Sarah, no, I don't think everybody's going to flee to Montana and become bear food, but I think there's the potential for a lot of people to exit the urban areas and suburban areas and move to the rural areas. But, you know, we tend to extrapolate, right? There's a lot of people right now that are still quite comfortable to watch Rome burn from the inside. Obviously, I don't think that's a great idea. I'm guessing, Sarah, you don't think that's a great idea either. But I think a lot of people are going to be like that guy playing the violin on the deck of the Titanic as it was sinking, not looking for a lifeboat. So Do I think everybody's going to move to the rural areas? No, absolutely not. But I think some will. And I'll be honest with you, I think we should embrace those to the best of our ability that do move into these areas, because A, you're going to need people, B, they're going to need help, and C, they might know stuff that we don't. So now there's but in many cases there's an adjustment that needs to happen as far as speed of life and attitude when people from the city come to the country. Things are just a little bit different out here.
A little bit of politics.
Yeah, politics are different. Speed of life is different. But, you know, love your neighbor as yourself, right? Selflessly love your neighbor until such a time as they prove to you that they are not willing to be loved, in which case you just love them a little bit differently. And I hope you don't have that problem. But in any event, I don't think everybody's going to move to the country. Sarah P. Bear, do you think this virus was intentional? No. No, I don't. What do you think, Yankee?
To be determined.
TBD? Vulgar display of gunpowder. Shalom.
I like operating off of facts, not assumptions.
Yeah. As of right now, I have nothing to go off of that makes me believe that this virus was intentional.
Yeah. How does that benefit China?
However, do I think that the powers that be in there, I mean, you got to understand that continuity of government is, I believe it's 1/3 of all government resources are dedicated to continuity of government. And there are plans for everything. So when this thing started to kick off, there were people dusting, knocking the dust off of binders and documents all over the place, opening up old file cabinets and going, hold on, we have a plan for this. We might have to modify it, but we have a plan for this. And so
there was a plan back from the 1950s.
Yeah. but
still a plan.
I think the opportunity to not let a crisis go to waste presented itself, and existing plans were put into place to match our current, and when I say our, not our current, but the powers that be, their current agendas to move whatever policies down the field that they would like to. So, and I think because of that, it can have the appearance of being intentional. But if you think about it, if you dedicated, let's say you're awake 16 hours a day. So if you dedicated 5 hours a day of coming up with contingency plans for anything that would happen, you'd probably look pretty damn prophetic and well prepared if something did happen, whether you caused it to happen or not. You could even have the appearance of having caused it to happen because of how well you responded to it. So, that's kind of my take on it. And ultimately, here's where I land on it. There's not a thing that changes for me if it was man-made, intentional, unintentional, naturally occurring. I've still got, the reality is the same. We got to grow food. We got to network with people. We've got to handle our security. We have to continue to fellowship. We have to go to work. We have to do our jobs. We have to serve our Creator. We have to lead our families. We still have to do all these things. Regardless of the big macro stuff, which is nice to know, we've still got to do all these things. So, Mad Celt. Shalom, brother. The comments go by so fast. Bear, do you think it's a smarter play to run all of your folks on a single platform? Yeah, I do. Lycan, that's something that we talk about regularly. As far as party favors, I think AR-15s with Stanag mags, standard NATO mags, M4, M16 profile magazines, chamber in, 5.56 by 45 millimeter NATO, and 9x19, those two cartridges, while certainly not ideal, if we're going to play that game, Would I rather have my AR-15 or Yankees 44 Magnum? Well, it depends. That 44 is going to poke a gigantic hole, but it's got 10 rounds, not 30.
It's also going to break your collarbone.
It's also going to break your collarbone, right? And so,
That thing is
but there's
nasty.
something to be said for uniformity of equipment, right? That if God forbid we're in a firefight and he runs dry, I can pitch him a magazine and he can seat that magazine, hit the slide release and go back to work. Okay? Or the bolt release rather, slide release. What am I talking about?
That's pistol stuff.
Pistol, right? And go back to work. If he's running an AK or a 300 black or a 7.62 by 51 millimeter NATO or any other, 5.45, or whatever, we can't do that now. And so I think it makes sense to have everybody run the same stuff, unless, and I'll give you an example. We've had some people at times in the crews that ran AKs when most of us are AR guys. And so they would carry an extra M4 mag, and some of us would carry extra AK mags. But I still don't like that near as much as I like us all running the same caliber, same platform. And then it's much easier to scavenge or trade for common calibers. If you just love 41 Magnum in a wheel gun, awesome, but you better have a pallet of 41 Magnum somewhere, because the likelihood that you're going to come across that is essentially zero, right? So what do you think?
I agree.
That's it?
I mean, the military all operates off of the same caliber unless they're running a completely different weapons platform. So,
There you go.
I'd rather run a caliber that is literally mass produced to the point where we have warehouses worth of it somewhere. I don't know where, but I know they're out there. So I would run. I mean, if you live in Russia, absolutely run 7.62 by 39. I actually don't even think that the Russians are running 7.62
5.45 by 39 now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's like AKs and 7.62 by 39. Yeah, it's cheap, man. It's not as common as you think it is anymore. There's a lot of it. Don't get me wrong, but there's more of the other stuff.
Yep.
And when the military swaps over to a new platform and a new caliber,
There'll
then
be
guess what?
even more
I'm
of
be
it.
swapping to the same thing. So
6.8 SPC. Or wait a minute. 6.5 Grendel. Hold on, that didn't work. 450 Bushmaster. Hold on, like 300 Blackout. Okay, 300 Whisper.
it's not. Literally, you have three weapon platforms that have been used in the military for longer than anything, and that's the M16 M4 platform.
Mm-hmm.
Let me think here. The M250 cal.
The Mod Deuce.
The Mod Deuce has been in use since the 40s. I think it actually came out in the late 30s.
It was designed in 1912?
Something.
It's over 100 years old.
Yeah.
I know that.
And the 1911,
Yeah, and the 1911. Designed in
they're not
1911.
Yeah, but it's like
Okie, Shalom, brother.
Certain
Yeah.
units get 45 with the 1911s, not everybody. And I think
This
it was
guy.
like Marsoc for a while.
Cool guys.
And they don't use it anymore. They swapped over to Glocks.
Yeah.
And now they're switching to the 320s.
So, Mosh and Jody asked, what do I think about turkeys? What I think about turkeys is that I have videos here on YouTube about how to butcher turkeys and videos on Patreon about what I think about turkeys. But I'll answer your question here. I love turkeys. They're docile. They're easy to keep. We keep our turkeys in the same pen we keep our sheep in, and they cohabitate very nicely. They're big enough to defend themselves from predators. Most predators look at that thing and go, I don't want any of that. I think I'll eat a chicken or a rabbit instead. Matthew Gentry, bless you. I'll get to you in one moment, sir. And I prefer to butcher four-legged animals over fowl. And so if I'm going to have to butcher birds, I'd rather butcher a bird that I get 20 pounds of meat off of than a bird that I get 2.5 pounds of meat off of, or 3 or 4 pounds of meat off of. Tony John, shalom, brother. So in any event, I like turkeys. I find them to be, they're tasty. They're easy. I mean, they follow you around like puppy dogs when you first get them. And Anyway, I like them very much so. And
Real,
we have broad-breasted whites and heritage birds as well.
real quick.
Yep.
I saw Mama Turkey messing with Cedric, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she had him by the leg and was pinning him down. So I walked over with a stick.
He must
save Cedric.
He must have been messing with Slimy.
Must have been or something. I was like, "Yo, Cedric, I got you, homie." And I
Nice.
grabbed the stick.
So our mama turkey was sitting on a clutch of eggs, turkey eggs, and then some of the chickens started laying on the turkey eggs, and then chicken eggs hatch out in about 21 days. Turkey eggs hatch out in about 28 days. So the turkey hatched out a chicken egg. So there's this little black chicken that Aspen, our toddler, named Slimy. He's not slimy. He just got named Slimy. So, but Slimy thinks he's a turkey, and Mama Turkey thinks he's a little turkey, even though he's actually a chicken. So Slimy follows Mama Bird around all the time. So, all right, let's see. Matthew Gentry, are there legal options for unconventional methods for self-defense? If so, what are your thoughts on using such methods? Man, I really don't know what you mean by that.
Look at the laws of your state and consult a legal expert.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I appreciate your $5 bill, I really do, but I don't know.
Now, if we're talking unconventional, now flintlock with a bayonet.
I don't know what you mean.
Why not?
I don't know what Francis Perez, shalom, sister. I don't know in what scenario you're trying to employ this. Are you looking for a ranged weapon, projectile weapon, edged weapon, blunt force, loaded fist?
I will say,
I don't know what you're talking about.
setting booby traps is a felony offense.
There you go. Shaloha. Mashanjati, thank you. Flyers and loudspeakers, air rifles. Trebuchet, there you go, I like that. Hello from the Fort Smith area of Arkansas, Bo Bowles. Hey, you should go to Sodi's in the Fort Smith area, assuming that you are a partaker of adult beverages. They have good beer. I don't know how I would know that, but they have good beer. Hello? Hello? It's me. Blessings from Boise.
I think he had a new blip pop
Is
up.
Pandy here? No, is Pandy here? Pandy, are you here? Free Spirit News, bless you, sister. Where's Pandy? Pandy's the best. The bestest. No, you were not getting flintlocks for self-defense. We're not doing this.
Fix bayonets.
We're not doing this. Fix bayonets.
Ready.
Richard Wells, shalom, brother.
I just keep thinking of that scene from The Patriot.
Wait, hold on. Should I try to buy around 5 acres now or wait until I save enough money for 30 plus acres for a farm? Zub, man, I don't know where you live, but I would lean with zero context and background information, I would lean in the direction of 5 acres now is better than 30 acres later. And I'll tell you, God's honest truth, man, we use regularly about 3 acres a day of our land. We use probably weekly 7 acres of our land, and the whole 20 plus acres that we have, once every couple of weeks, once a month right now. Now that's changing because of the circumstances of our world right now. We're getting much more utilization out of our land than we have been. But you can get a lot done on a handful of acres, man. And I'll tell you this too, a lot of people buy really cheap land because it's affordable. And what you're buying is rocks. Soil matters, man. And so a lot of our brethren have rocks instead of soil. And their land cost less than ours did. Ours was still quite affordable. But we actually have soil here, and it's freaking awesome because it's very hard to plant in rocks. So
There's soil under the rocks,
yeah.
but it's a lot of work.
So Sarah Hoskins, right? Mr. Brees, is that the official meat packer sitting back there? Yeah, that's right. It's just my meat processor. Good job catching the live stream, brother. Palmetto Paratrooper, shalom, brother. How do we grow food with snow coming Friday? Well, Night Assassin, you might live in the wrong part of the country, or you might just have to wait a hot minute. Keith Kronk, what's up, brother? Yeah, Mark Chase, that's right. They take a really long time to boil in order to get them tender enough to eat. Is burgle wheat the same as wheat berries? I have no idea. I don't know what burgle wheat is. Let's butcher something. Come on over, witness. You do it, man. We've been going hardcore since 5:30 this morning, so I'm about done with doing the hard things right now, or even the like mildly inconvenient things. So,
It was a good day.
how do you such a great tactical beerhead, PNW prepping and survival? How do you such a great comment?
We make for you bushcraft knife.
Pleased to make for you best beard for review on the internet of TubeU. For the beard is much luxurious for the good reviews that make for smile in bank account. Yeah, you guys should see. I'm gonna start screenshotting the emails that I get and just posting them on Patreon. They're the best.
All the wish companies.
Yeah.
Man.
We are to make for you good deal for flashlight, for tactical, for bolt to gun with AR-15. No, I'm good, thanks.
We make level 5 armor for stopping M16, M4.
Gun.
What? That's not even a caliber.
Gun plates for stop of 30 mil uranium rounds for the best. Like, no, I don't think. Has been tested in lab, Wuhan, China. No, I'm good. Really, I'm good. We make for you nice PayPal smile face. No, I'm good. So, yeah, Luke Thompson. What do I put in my beard? That's exactly right. I used to tell people that when I'd have people who worked with me, and the answer was sweat, sawdust, and Budweiser. So, yeah. Paula Joe Davis. Yum. Ghost Preparedness. Bless you, brother. Thank you. Do you have flint in your store? Negative, we do not. Level 7 plates. That's right. Sean Michael, time for the weekly donation. Hope all's well in the Bearstead. Awesome. Thoughts on welding as an additional skill set? Absolutely. We just did some welding last week here, putting our bridge together, which is going to post on Patreon shortly. Welding's a great skill to have, man.
When you were driving that track over that bridge, man, that thing flexed so hard.
That's good.
On the oncoming.
I like it.
Just to the right of the beam. With
awesome.
The track. I was like, oh.
Awesome.
That's cool.
OPB, bless you, brother.
It's a 6,000-pound track, though.
Dude, that's awesome. Bear Nation is the bomb. So, yeah, welding is awesome, man. I don't know everything there is to know about welding, but I know enough to run a bead. If you can get a 225 amp Cracker Jacks tombstone, DC welder, and get some 6011 rod and learn how to run a bead, awesome. I had a kid that worked for me on a job in western Oklahoma, a wind turbine job, and he actually worked for a subcontractor. And long story short, the subcontractor sucked, but this kid that worked for him was like 18 years old. Was a really good kid. And so I told him one Friday, I said, hey, I'm fixing to fire your boss. Can you show up here Monday morning with a welder in the back of your truck? And he's like, I don't know why. And I said, because if you can, you're hired. You are now my welder on this hundreds of millions of dollar job. And he's like, for real? And I'm like, I'm not kidding. He's like, okay. And he did. He showed up Monday, and long story short, that guy now earns a living. He's got his own equipment maintenance company. He's a subcontractor for Caterpillar. But when I first met him, he was out trying. I don't know if you've ever seen somebody trying to weld but just can't quite get it. And they start to arc, and then the rod sticks, and then they do this, and they're getting pissed off. And I was watching. I was sitting in the truck watching him do this, and I was like, I'm going to watch him a couple more minutes and then go help him. And I just went and just showed him how to flow a bead of weld, right? And I tend to do the C's. I do this, okay? And there's different people do this. I like this sometimes. It depends on what we're doing. But I like the C's, just filling back and forth like this. So I showed him, just Here's how I run a bead of weld, right? And if you do that same way, this will work per the specification for this job. A few weeks later, he was my lead welder on that project. A couple years after that, he had 2 trucks and 80 acres paid for and $250,000 in the bank. Not because of me, because of him, because he leaned into the opportunity to do the work and make something out of himself. J. Johns, tremendous. So, yeah, I think welding's awesome, man. Yo, Lloyd, Whiskey Alpha Romeo, that's right, I'm aware. I captured Bigfoot. He is still alive, question mark. You sound like the kind of person that emails me about flashlight reviews. I am for capture man with foot big with much hair for the National Geographic show. Please to send money to PayPal smile face. Do you like enchiladas? Am I breathing right now? Of course I like enchiladas. Make a video of Bigfoot. Nah, what are we drinking tonight? Thanks, Patrick. This is Post Red Table wine from the Post Winery in Arkansas. And it's good. It's kind of like alcoholic Welch's grape juice. It's just a nice, not too heavy, just a nice. Rum and Coke, Anthony Aiello, nice. Paris, Arkansas. I don't know where that is. I know where Paris, Texas is. Yeah, J. Johns, I'm aware. Hey, honey. Did you have a good shower? Yankee something. Did you ever find the prints after the loss? I don't know what that means. Yankee, did you ever find the prints after the loss?
I don't understand the question. Would you clarify?
Thoughts on Canada? It's cold there, and y'all talk funny, and now you can't have scary guns. I like Oklahoma better. The end. I don't know. I don't know much about Canada, honestly. No, John Smith, I was not Army. I was not in the military, period. I just spent a lot of time around people who were. Done some work for the .gov. When you lost chickens. Oh, yeah, the thing that was eating chickens.
Oh.
So.
We found well, we didn't find
Oh, yeah,
Hobby
tell them about that while I refill my glass.
Yeah, Hobby Biscuits found a print in the woods.
Carrie Stennett. Yeah, a big print. Twice
Cougar.
The size of our 120-pound Anatolians prints.
Yeah, big cat.
Big
Cougar.
cat.
Cougar. No claw, no claw indentation, so retractable. And yeah, it was like, here's your hand.
Yeah.
Here's the print.
Yeah.
Like it was like yeah. So there's a big cat somewhere.
Miss Hermit Hill, shalom.
We'll
Have you
figure that
considered programs from various stores that make contributions to carries? Yeah, Mark Chase, I have. Like, we've thought about Amazon Smile and all of that, and the long and short of that is that Grindstone Ministries is currently in pending status for 501c3. And so we've filed with the IRS, and we're not yet approved. And everybody I've talked to said that it either takes 3 months or 2 years. There's like no in between. It takes 3 months or 2 years. And so maybe we're looking at 2 years plus, you know, hashtag Coronapocalypse. But we need to have that. We are in a position right now where we can issue receipts for charitable donations. And we can receive charitable donations. Where pending status allows you to do all of the things. However, which is actually cool. Matthew Gentry, man, bless you. Thank you. Mental preparedness. We'll come right back to that. So you're allowed to receive donations from people and issue receipts for charitable donations, so forth and so on. But large companies and corporations, hell, even small companies, are not interested in donating to you on when you are in pending status. So, okay, cool. Well, as if the Father's not sovereign over that, right? As if he was completely unaware that this is the way it was going to be. And so I'm happy to say that we're 100% grassroots funded, because we are. So, yeah, that's where we're at right now. So until we have approved status, not pending status with our 501c3, we really can't court these larger companies for things like Amazon Smile and Kroger, and Tractor Supply has one. Home Depot has one. Lowe's has actually been really good to us, though. Lowe's has been very good to us on a store-by-store basis, but they've been very good to us. So let's see. Matthew Gentry, please use this money for the 10 families you are supporting. Absolutely. My question is about mental prepare. By the way, that's all we use all the money for all the time, unless it's earmarked grindstone, then we use it for grindstone stuff. There are a lot of people who aren't mentally strong enough to think of the worst case scenario. Can you talk about how someone can strengthen their mind? Yeah, I can. I kind of touched on that this morning. I think a lot of people get overwhelmed with possibilities. And so a really good thing that you can do is take a sheet of paper and make some columns and start with writing down everything that you're concerned about, worried about, whatever, okay? And then put those into 2 columns. Are they actionable? Is there something you can actually do about it? Or are they non-actionable? Is there nothing you can do about it? Everything that's in the non-actionable column, give it away. Pray over that, give it to your creator, give it away. There's nothing you can do about it. Quit worrying about it. Worry about the stuff that, and to the extent that you do worry about the stuff that you can actually affect positive change on. And then the way you deal with anxiety is through action. So now you've got a list of actionable stuff that concerns you. Start executing on that. Prioritize that list. You can literally just put numbers next to it. Number 1, I got to do this first. Number 2, number 3, number 4, okay? And start mapping out your course of action. Once you start doing, it alleviates so much of that anxiety and that concern and that trepidation. And so, yeah, a lot of people can't handle the enormity of the world being shut down. Good news, you're not meant to. You're not built to handle the enormity of it. And especially in today's day and age, and I may contribute to this, and to the extent that I do contribute to this, I apologize. People are drinking from a fire hose. We are bombarded by information 24/7. So I myself am on a very low information diet. You've been living here a few weeks. How much news do I watch?
You watch the news?
Right. How much YouTube do I watch?
Wait, you watch YouTube?
Right. I'm a producer, y'all. I'm not really a consumer. I consume the intel that I bring to y'all before I bring it to you. That's about it. I listen to podcasts sometimes, but that's about it. And so I'm on a low information diet. The things that I can't do anything about, I give them to my creator because that's where they belong in the first place. And the stuff that I can do something about, we prioritize and execute, and we get busy on. And I'll tell you, at the end of the day, man, we don't even have the energy to worry. It's like it's nap time, bro. It's nap time. And so the enormity of it is not something we are designed to deal with in the first place. And so if the one thing you can convey to somebody that they can't wrap their head around this is that they're not supposed to wrap their head around this, I think you've won. Now, that doesn't mean that you stick your head in the sand. It doesn't mean that you don't try and stay informed. But it does mean it's okay if you can't grasp all of this because you're not designed to in the first place. What you can do is sift through it. And once you sift through it, figure out what you can do and do that. And never, I'll give you this too. People so underestimate momentum. Once you're going, once you got momentum, you get into a groove, stay in a groove. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Now, well, Bear, I got to rest. Okay, take a rest. Then keep going, keep going, keep going. But momentum matters. Getting into a groove matters. So.
Yeah, when you lose that, it's hard to start
right
again.
1776, Bear, you've got an amazing channel, and I value your content. I always make sure to check out your daily briefs. Check out my briefs, bro. Nice, there's a shirt. Bless you, William Franklin. Thank you. I like your profile pic. Who dat?
Like that shirt.
Palmetto Paratrooper. Looking for advice on what makes a good chain link fence and where I should purchase it from. Doesn't seem like Amazon would be the ideal seller to me. Bless you, Palmetto. Well,
Skip out on the chain link and go with T-post and barbed wire.
I mean, it depends on what you're trying to
Yeah.
contain. 2 3/8 inch galvanized posts, 10-foot. Well, I don't know how much fence you need, but all the chain link I've ever done has come from Depot, and they, at least back in the day before the Corona apocalypse, all the pieces, parts were right there, man. But the nice thing about chain link, or maybe not, depending on your application and your soil, is in a lot of places you can just get long posts 2 foot longer than you need and drive them into the soil, rather than digging holes or augering holes, filling those holes with concrete or compacted soil, and then going about fencing. What about 300 Win Mag? Mac, do you really want to not be at this channel anymore? Ask that question again.
I remember the joke.
James Cipriano, bless you. My anxiety and PTSD have been amazingly really good as my friends and family are stressed. I might still be in Babylon just for now, but chickens are doing great and food's coming up already. Bless you, James.
It's awesome.
Help out Mitch if he's in need. House full of estrogen fun. Roger that, JR. I'm so glad my husband is an old Missouri farm boy. Me too. Me too. Ideas for Corona kids that will show up by New Year's. Yeah, somebody should start taking an online midwife course now, because you're going to be getting paid with all the goat's milk and chickens and potatoes that you can handle 9 months from now. You're going to have a lot of business. What do you think? You want to be a midwife?
I'm going to pass on that.
You're going to hard pass on midwife?
Yeah. Not my job.
I
don't think a male midwife would be popular on the.
I don't know. It
list
depends
of
on where
things.
you are.
I mean, I could just talk.
You might just really
within
put them at ease.
Yeah, there's a way to do that.
Okay, girl, spread them. Okay, here it comes. I can see the crown. One big push. Here we go.
Those polo shirts.
Here we go.
Can't do it.
No, I don't want a polo shirt. I
Like
think you
that.
should wear like a V-neck tie-dye that's then bunched at your navel with like a scrunchie, you know, so that your belly's hanging out.
It is.
Yeah.
It will be 2021.
And like a side pony. Yeah. I think that'd be awesome. Super good.
Fabulous.
Malemidwives.com. Somebody buy it. Make it happen.
GoDaddy.com. Find the link there.
Well, at least one of my admins is on this live stream, so I would not be surprised to get a text saying, hey, we now own malemidwives.com. I was not serious. I don't want to own malemidwives.com. Oh, man.
For a penny.
How do you deal? Ghost Angel, what's up? How do you deal with people freezing in drills? There's two ways that I know of, and then I'm going to let you answer this. Depending on who you're dealing with and what their experience is, the first is you just scream right into their ear until they go, 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 go. The other is that you press pause and allow them to reset and then let them go again. And it depends entirely on the individual and their level of training. That's my experience. What about you?
Well, doing force on force, I've had people pause, and they caught a simunition round.
Uh-huh.
But again, it's supposed to be real life. And it's like, if you hesitate when that threat's in front of you, like, barrel pointed at me, I'm looking down the barrel, and I go from concealed to up, out, and fire. And the guy just like,
Yeah.
just didn't even see it coming, because his OODA loop got jacked up. He didn't think it was happening. Because one moment I was like this, next moment I wasn't.
Right.
So, now it does depend on who you're dealing with and what exactly you're doing. Because that one example is a very extreme example.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I had a guy get on the firing line at a range. We were at Fort Bragg, and we're doing like a combative range. And he starts making, he's trying to make a loop sling
Uh-huh.
with a 3-point sling.
Okay.
And I'm like, You're not at the 500-yard line, bro. Like, put your rifle on your shoulder, stand up, start firing. All right, cool. Kneel. Now keep firing. Put it on burst. Fire again. You know, now the prone. Now reload. You're out. You know, and stand up and just getting in his butt. But it made him kind of like, oh, this is what's happening. But he didn't know any better, right? But again, it was the Marine Corps. He was a PFC. I was a corporal, and that's my job.
Right.
So, you know, that was a good time. That was the range where I shot an M4 to the point where the firing pin retaining pin cracked. The extractor swelled shut, so it wouldn't, because the bolt face got so hot that the bolt swelled and the extractor swelled, so it wouldn't.
It was stuck.
It would, yeah, it wouldn't. It would just. It was hitting the back of the round, and it wasn't actually like.
It wasn't
moving
extracting.
anymore.
Yeah.
The rear retaining pin, or the rear retaining pin broke. And the rifling in the barrel ceased to exist. I had
Wow.
smooth bore.
Nice.
Thank you, Uncle Sam.
Good job.
So, yeah, that was fun.
So I would also say this, like, if you do press pause, the motive behind pressing pause is to actually get the person to examine right there in the moment, why did you freeze? Why? Like, what happened in this moment that caused you to freeze? And then run it again.
Yep.
Run it again until you push past that barrier, that stumbling block. So
That's a good point. That's a
Yep.
really good point.
because you gotta unpack that and fix that so it doesn't present itself again. Yeah, fear, or there's something that's, you know, has been front loaded into their programming since childhood, that when I see a brown teddy bear, I just shut down, or whatever, something dumb, right? Well, yeah, well, you're shut down, people are shooting at you, so what are you gonna do about it?
Going on to that point, a lot of people, even with simunition, where we tell them, you're going to have to point this non-lethal firearm at a person during this course. And when the time came for them to do that, they would hesitate because they've been taught their entire life, keep your weapon pointed in a safe direction, right? Like, don't point at anything you're not willing to shoot, kill, or destroy. Well, it's like, well, I just kicked in your front door, bro. Like, you need to realize that this is one of those situations where you should be willing
kill and destroy.
to shoot, kill, or destroy me. Like, that's like, this is the whole point of the training platform, is to be put in that situation, and there is a desensitization factor involved there. Like, that's why the military moved over to silhouette targets, just to get used to putting your sights on something that resembles a head and shoulders, right, and a torso. But a lot of people don't train that way, or a lot of people, even though they do train that way, they mentally know it's a piece of paper or a piece of steel. And then when it's an actual dynamic situation with a person standing in front of them posing as a threat, you know what I mean?
Shalom, brother Chris.
But there's a training element to that, and it's not actual, like, legitimate, I can actually die right now.
That's my wife watering the garden.
There's a lot to that.
Tribesman, shalom, brother.
That's the what?
It's okay, Mac. It's okay. Just don't ever ask me about 300 Win Mag again. It's your one warning. One last one. I don't recall you talking about spalling from using metal plates. What do you do to mitigate spalling in your Spartan armor systems? I have an anti-spall coating.
The plates are good for several shots. The spalling, that's a whole
Mongoose,
story.
shalom, brother. Also, part of this is, like, again, getting back to getting your OODA loop jacked up. If I'm taking rounds in the plate, I better be moving right now. I'm not just gonna sit here and be like, oh, hey, well the spalling and I'm still getting shot. So, I want to point out too, do we own armor? Yeah. Have I worn it recently? Maybe. Do I envision a moment in time right now where I gotta have it? At this point, no. At this point, no. Yeah, I run a fixed bayonet on my 300 Win Mag carbine. It's a Nemo. She is awesome. Look at her go. Karen Martin says you're awesome.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you, Karen. So, chasing life, shalom. Fight or flight, question mark, exclamation point, question mark. Well, Mahoney, that depends on the situation. My fight or flight is kind of broken. I tend to have a fight or fight. But, you know, now that I have a wife and kids, I really don't want to be in a fight that I can't finish. So, yeah. PHL, shalom, brother. Donato Hurtado. Man, I have level 4 ceramics and level 3 plus steel plates. So, I think if you're brand new, and of course everybody's always on a budget, level 3 plus, man. What's up, Mick? I own lots of AR 500 armor. See, let's talk about this. AR 500 is a rating of steel, okay? So the company AR 500 Armor makes their plates out of AR 500 steel, like everybody else that makes their plates out of AR 500 steel. So Spartan Armor, AR 500, everybody else that makes steel plates, the steel comes from the foundry with a specific rating, as in AR 500. It's like, I don't know. It's all the same. What's different is the anti-spall coating, perhaps the shape of the plates, but the steel is the steel, bro. Idalia, bless you. What's up, babe?
Big old moon.
Big old moon. Let's see, can they see it? I don't think they can. No, y'all can't see the moon yet. There it is, right there. It's coming. CL, bless you. Without rule of law, what are your recommendations for disabled elderly that will not move in advance? Thank you for your service. Disabled elderly that will not move in advance and without rule of law. Move from where? Because moving from downtown Chicago and moving from their 892 square foot little white farmhouse in the middle of nowhere are two completely different things. Wolfback, shalom. Or their, you know, suburban condominium in the retirement facility, retirement community. All those are different things. How about a youth model 20 gauge and food storage and a water filter, and then you pray for them? I don't know, man.
Not even out here. Chickens will eat the peanuts.
Jim D, bless you.
Be careful.
Barry, would hunting be a reliable source of food in rural Georgia? Clayton, no. Hunting would not be a reliable source of food anywhere. That's the problem. The idea that people are going to hunt, fish, trap, scavenge, forage their way to prosperity in end times chaos or without rule of law is absurd. Here's why. Because if you could do that, you'd already be doing it. Now add into the fact that that limited resource is going to be vied for by lots more people when things get bad than currently. See, hunting seasons are managed for a reason, right? In a lot of places, hunting licenses are given out by lottery. There's limits, there's seasons, all that's closely managed so that you don't depopulate a certain species. During the Great Depression, white-tailed deer were almost extinct. The American turkey, wild turkey, was almost extinct. Rabbits, hares, squirrels, anything that people could eat and did eat was almost extinct. And so, no, I don't at all think that hunting is a viable option unless you live in a place where the population density is so low that, and the population of the animal resource is so high that it's not going to be significantly impacted by hunting it year-round. But for the vast majority of people, and from what I know about Georgia, I have family in Georgia, I've done some work in Georgia, my answer is no. I don't think it's a viable option. I think you'd be much better off putting food on shelves, shelf-stable food, and then planting a garden and getting your livestock going up than hoping to kill some meat so that you can eat. Because I'm telling you this, man, how many times have people gone hunting and gotten nothing? It's called hunting, not killing. Chuck, bless you. I will tactically hunt my rogue roosters. Amen, brother. Yeah, I have my wife for that. We shot a Patreon video on that. Never mind the fact that she adjusted the sights on my rifle before we started shooting. Whatever, you can lie about it all you want. We all know you adjusted the sights on my rifle. So, Bear, what to do? The Canadian government just banned all AR-15. Any other suggestions? Alex, you got two options there as far as I'm concerned. Three, I guess. You can comply. Yotes. You can comply. You can not comply. Or you can leave. I don't know what to tell you. These are the only options I see. Thoughts about locking over snares and trot lines over hunting. Still stock food, but have snares you can check daily. Short-term offset. Yeah, you know, PHL, if you eat things that go forth on pause, absolutely. We don't do that, so trapping is not a viable option for us because I don't eat things that go forth on pause because we keep Leviticus 11. And so I don't really want to encourage you to eat things that go forth on pause either. But you run your household however you see fit, sir. Are you going to...
There's packing peanuts in this box that I'm trying
Okay.
to like very...
And that face you're making is making me think that you're going to give yourself a hernia.
Nah.
Okay, you sure? Roger.
I already have a herniated disc, so...
Copy. Bring back the buffalo. I agree. Do you think a 33-pound 50 cal rifle is practical? What the hell for?
Shooting a buffalo?
Probably not. No. No. If you're gonna spend $8,600 on a 50 cal rifle.
No, they're like 11,000 now, bro.
I just saw them on Palmetto yesterday with a Vortex Razor.
The new one.
Yeah, the M82A1 with the Vortex Razor 5 to 25 by 50 was $85.99 yesterday at Palmetto.
You can suppress the 107.
We'll just say 10 grand. If you're gonna spend 10 grand on the freaking rifle, how about instead you spend 1,000, maybe 2,000, and then put the other 8,000 into food.
200 a magazine too.
I'm tracking, bro. So, Badger, shalom, brother. So, all right, well, y'all are over there, so I'm gonna move this back over here so I can read it without leaning forward. I always see your AR. Ever run a long-range rifle? I absolutely do, brother. I have. Well, back before the tragic boating accident, I had all kinds of things. Bartering with a different mag after SHTF thoughts. Man, I've already covered that on Patreon. Dangers, benefits. I'm just going to put it to you this way. You should already be building relationships with people. You should be doing business with people you trust now and learning how to trust other people now. I'm not going out and looking for new friends if this thing gets serious. I've said that before and I mean it. People are like, well, Bear, can I just, come to your place after that? No, you can't. We've got enough people to take care of already. No, you can't. I'm not looking to adopt any new friends after the balloon goes up. I'm just not. And now if the Father brings me people, that's one thing. But I am not going out looking for them. And I will be doing business and I will be doing life with people that I already know, I already trust, and that I already love. And that's why you should already know people, already trust people, and already love people now. And I am just up to my freaking eyeballs with the for everybody's excuses as to why they can't. You're right. If you can't, you're right. You're absolutely right. You can't. You think that you can, you're absolutely right. You can. And I don't want to start just running my mouth on that real quick, but your words have power. And if you tell yourself that you can't do it, you're absolutely right. You can't do it. You just broke yourself. Congratulations. You tell yourself that you can do it, you're absolutely right. You can do it. Whatever that thing is. So, meeting new mags after SHTF for bartering and OPSEC issues. I'm not trying to meet anybody new after the balloon goes up. Hell, I'm trying to live my life during rule of law with my gate closed as far away from all the weirdos as possible anyway. So the idea that we're going to go find new weirdos after the balloon goes up, nah, I'm good. I'm good, man. It's called Bear Independent. We have circles, man. We have circles. And the people inside the circles, we love dearly. We value highly. And we do anything that we can do for them. And God help you if you pose a threat to them. And vice versa. Outside of that circle, and see, this is important too. I only have so much bandwidth. You only have so much bandwidth. Everybody only has so much bandwidth. You better figure out who's inside your circle and who's not. And it sounds really, I've said this before. My pastor says this all the time. And it chafes a lot of people, but I think people are starting to get it now that resources are becoming scarce. There's some people that you literally can't afford to be concerned about. You just can't afford to be concerned about them. They're just going to have to fend for themselves. And then there's some people that no matter what, they will always be provided for. As long as there's breath in my lungs, they will always be provided for. You're either inside the circle or you're outside of the circle. You need to start thinking hardcore now about who's inside the circle and have multiple circles. So, because we have multiple circles. And there's hierarchies inside of those multiple circles. And we foster meaningful relationships now so that we don't have to be subjected to the will of others later. I'm going to win. I've said this before and I mean it. I'm going to win. Whatever winning looks like, I'm going to win. However we survive this thing, we're going to do it. And we're going to do it morally and ethically with people that we love. But that comes from being intentional now, so that I don't have to compromise my morals and ethics later. So that I don't have to try and build meaningful relationships later. I'm going to do that now. So that's what I think. I think you should quit putting it off and know who you're going to do business with now, so that you don't have to think about it then. And then if you had to, Overwatch, get there early, have a QRF. What are you doing?
Getting his dog stuck.
Power voids get filled. That's exactly right. Amen.
He's back.
He's back. Tribe of just wife and myself, no one around. Do you prefer packs with or without frames? Depends on what we're doing, EH Nebraska. What's up, EH Nebraska? Mr. EH Nebraska, we salute you, Mr. EH Nebraska. EH Nebraska was one of our first patrons, like way back in the day. And I think literally within the first year on Patreon,
Shalom, bro.
I'm going to say 10 to 15% of the videos that we shot early on in Patreon were all answers to EH Nebraska questions way back in the day. They were. There was a lot of, what's up, bro? It's good to see you. Right now, I'm running a frameless pack, but I'm not carrying a whole crap ton of weight in it. If I was carrying a whole crap ton of weight, I'd run a frame pack. But I'm not trying to carry a whole crap ton of weight because by doing the things, I understand my limitations. You know, and we don't need to turn this into Bear lists all the things that's wrong with him right now. But suffice it to say, when you ruck with your kit regularly, you learn how much you can carry for how long. And I'm not trying to carry a whole bunch of it all the time over long distances. So.
You don't know you're dying. You're always dying.
Digital alchemy. What do you got there, bro?
I have steel, because we were talking about steel before, but I had to get all the packaging peanuts out without letting them out so the chickens would eat them tomorrow.
You're only 14 minutes late to the conversation.
I'm only
That's
14
fine.
minutes late. It was a process.
Nice.
But I have one of these.
Nice.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that from?
I got this from Amendment 1 Preparedness.
Yeah, you did.
because he's cool. Because we're building a range. We're gonna do the pew pew.
He's
things.
so excited about it.
There's actually a second one of these. So.
And there's some
yeah.
smaller ones too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are larges, and we have mediums.
Bless you, Amendment 1 Preparedness. Thank you.
Yeah, you're awesome, bro.
Yeah,
Thank
you're
you
awesome.
so much. We just got like 30 feet. No, more than that.
No, we got like 100 foot of straight up virgin forest cleared, like straight and without much. We had 2 hours, including tracking the track hoe a half a mile one direction and then a half a mile the other direction, essentially. So not bad for 90 minutes, if that, in the woods. We did pretty good. We got 100 yards cleared. So, tang, tang, tang.
This is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
And Grandma
Bless
got
you,
to
bro.
go in the woods for the first time ever.
And Grandma got to go in the woods for the first time ever. By the way, the whole Grandma needs rocks thing, not a problem.
Oh, I know.
Not going to be a problem.
Oh, I know.
Grandma needs to buy a dump truck so that we can, so we can deal with all the rocks. Dang, dang, dang.
Yeah.
Dang, dang, dang.
Those, yeah, you want to wear those for
Dang,
plates?
dang, dong. Sorry. War with China, naval, nuclear, or conventional. Jim D, all of the above. Total war. Total war. Plus comms will probably go down. It's entirely possible that the grid will go down in part or in whole. Disinformation will be everywhere. There's probably already localized bad actors on our soil. They have a vast intelligence network in place in the United States already. They've been doing this China plays the long game, man. They've been doing this for years and years and years. We've known that there's like at least 100,000 Chinese students per year that all write shallow but wide reports and send all that back to intelligence agencies in China to be correlated. Yeah.
Dianne Feinstein's secretary or driver or something was confirmed to be a Chinese spy.
Yep.
Like, come on.
Yep.
They're everywhere.
Plus,
man.
they're like proven in their industrial espionage capability. Intellectual property, they just wreck. Total war.
They downloaded a technical manual off of the 777 howitzer.
Yeah.
And they made one that was like the ugly version of a 777 for artillery.
Yeah.
It was like, you obviously know where that design came from.
They captured or they got a hold of one on the black market, an F-15 Strike Eagle, F-15E Strike Eagle, and reverse engineered it, like just made another one. So anyway, war with China, total war, bro. I think they're going to pull their money out of the American stock market to just straight up tank the stock market. They just in one day sell everything, pull it out. It's all funny money to them anyway. So they'll tank the stock market. There'll probably be some type of black swan Gulf of Tonkin incident in the South China Sea. I cannot tell you the specifics of the fragility of our national grid infrastructure, but suffice it to say, it's not robust. So I would not be surprised if there are localized regional outages. It would be difficult to take the entire grid down without an EMP type device. And if something like that happened, nuclear capable submarines they're already forward deployed. They're already, they're out there. I'll just say that. They're already out there, and we have a very robust response capability to a nuclear threat. And then if a conventional war, I don't think that you'd see Chinese troops on American soil. I think you're more likely, now anything could happen. Right now the probability of that's extremely low, but I do think you'd see proxy wars, and you'll probably see China asserting itself in and around Asia. And I think Russia is just going to sit on the sidelines and watch and figure out who they're going to punch first. But that's really jumping into some rabbit holes there.
They can see Alaska.
Yeah, and I hope, to be clear, that all of that's wrong. I really, really, really hope that all of that's wrong. But I don't, man, based upon everything that we're seeing, I don't see that happening. I really, really believe that we are being conditioned as a populace to accept a war with China. That's where all the rhetoric is headed. So, but I mean, hey, anything's possible at this point. We're all kind of living in a prepper novel right now. It's like, we'll see. What bird is that? A whippoorwill. Whippoorwill. We just elephant walked bombers out of Guam. Yep. Opinion on camera drones for security during SHTF. Man, we talked about that last time. Drones for security during SHTF. I've got at least one video about that on Patreon. I might have one on YouTube about it as well. What do you think?
Depends on where you live. Depends on the type of drone you buy. I mean, if I want a drone, I want a drone that can go so high up and that is so small that you won't see it and you won't hear it. And I want it to have, like, I want standard high def, I want infrared, I want thermal. But good luck finding one of those. Like, I would love to have like a Predator drone. Hey, you see that drone up there? You don't? Well, it sees you.
Yep. Here's 500 pounds of hate. Yeah.
It depends, man. I mean, like, if you're in a very urban environment, why are you there? But I mean, they're more viable in an urban environment than they are in a non-urban environment. There's too much head coverage out here.
And interference, signal interference,
Yeah.
and the distances before that thing has to fly before it has to RTB.
The 5G in cities. I mean, what Amazon wants to make their delivery drones be able to maintain a signal with the 5G towers, so they can literally go as far as their battery will let them.
I am on a base level distrustful of drones. When I see one, I will shoot it. So, I mean, if that helps answer your question, when I see one, I will shoot it. Well, you can't shoot it. It's all the way. Okay, maybe. But if I see it, I'm going to shoot it. So, I don't want one taking my temperature from 120 foot away. I don't want one. Josh Whitehead, bless you. Thank you. Jim Nichols, because it's 109 years old, it holds 7 rounds or maybe 8. And it's just not tactical. It's got little tiny sights on the A1. And, do we really need a grip safety anymore? And that's why. Because it was not designed by Gaston Glock. And then, yeah, everybody's like, yeah, but Glocks suck. I use the SIG. Okay, cool. It's a striker fire design copied exactly off of Gaston Glock's design. So whatever. That's cool. That's why. But as a combat pistol, I don't need more than 8 rounds, 45 ACP, whatever, bro. That's cool. Like, you do you. Who cares if everybody else hates the 1911? If you like the 1911, you should be confident enough to wear your 1911 and your push-up bra stuffed full of old gym socks. If that's what works for you, man, you go for it. And you look really pretty with that rouge and that lipstick on. Go for it, man. Whatever floats your boat. I don't know. SIGs are better.
Sometimes you got to take an old, inadequate design and just make it better.
There you go.
Hence why military contracts. Let's make the Gen 5, which is literally almost the same as the Gen 4.
Well, hey, talk to Lycan about cross-eyed dominance.
Oh, boy. There's a Patreon video for that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, there's a...
Paraphrase.
Yeah. That's yeah.
You have a Patreon, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah. What's it called?
Yankee Survival.
Yankee Crocheting and Crafts.
You're not going to find it in the search bar on Patreon. I've been notified of that issue. you're going to have to go to one of my videos on my channel. So while you're there, you should subscribe. Shameless plug, I get it.
Yeah.
But, you know, go to one of my more recent videos on the channel. And
On YouTube.
On YouTube.
Because you have a YouTube video too.
Yes. And you will see the link for Patreon, and you can find a tier that may be what you're interested in. And then you can find the information you're looking for. So I've seen a lot of things about guys being cross-eyed dominant, and they're like, oh, just start learning from the other hand. No, you don't have to do that.
Bless you, Lameza Dave. Thank you.
So
I have about 8 acres of garden. What would be your go-to vegetables to plant for survival? Great question. Joshua, thank you.
I
Jesse,
couldn't even
bless
imagine
y'all.
8 acres.
All right, so 8 acres of garden. What would I
That's a
put
lot.
down? Corn, potatoes, oats, beans, summer squash as your macro calories. And then I would use part of that as your micro calories for nutrients like your greens, your brassicas like broccoli and cauliflower, tomatoes, peppers for sure, because peppers for sure. Radishes, rutabagas, onions, garlic, carrots, all of your root vegetables for sure. Cucumbers, because, man, pickles.
8 acres of a garden? You
Yeah.
have a farm.
That's awesome. No, that's legit awesome, man. I would do, let's see, if I had to break it up into percentages, I would probably do corn stores well, right? Dried corn stores well. So I do a large amount of corn. I do a good amount and a large amount of beans because dried beans store well as well. So corn and beans for sure. Maybe 2 acres of each, and you're going to get a lot out of that. Thank you for the $2. Appreciate you. And then potatoes and oats for sure. You might consider sorghum as well for animal feed. So oats, sorghum, and corn all fall into the people feed plus animal feed category. Although really, there's a lot of things you can feed to animals and people. And then I do a vegetable garden for sure with all the, you know, if you had a 1 acre vegetable garden with just all the things we just listed, man, you'd be killing it. However, man, weeding 8 acres, you better have some friends. And planting 8 acres, you better have some equipment or you better have some friends. So that, all that being said, and you might also look at putting, you know, a couple acres in addition to that 8 acres into hay production. Bless y'all. You're blowing it up for Grindstone. Bless you, Justin. Thank you. Just drop that sub, Yankee. Thanks for the info. Bless you, Lycan. What's the best long-term storage flour? Best way to long-term storage flour? You can put it in a Mylar and get, I think, up to about 5 years in it. But the problem with the flour being ground is that you've exposed, there's so much more surface area to it, and you've exposed the inside of the kernel. And so the best way to store flour is to store whole kernel wheat, which will last essentially forever, and then grind it into flour when you need it. Now, I store flour. I just don't store a lot of flour, and I don't store it for very long. At any one point, I've got a few 100 pounds of flour in 5-pound buckets, and it gets rotated. We're working out of a 5-pound bucket full of flour right now. But wheat, they are literally, the big they collective, they are literally still finding viable wheat in pyramids in Egypt. Like viable, like you could plant it or eat it right now. You keep it cool, you keep it dry, it literally lasts forever. Which does contribute to the idea that the pyramids were actually built during the time of Joseph and the famine that came, the 7 years of fat, 7 years of lean. But I digress. Hey, you guys want to see something cool? It has literally nothing to do with anything right now. But this is a shirt made by the Sanctified Supply Co. And it says, grace, gratitude, and grit. And it's my wife's shirt that was sent to her by the Sanctified Supply Co. And I like it, so you can check them out. They support Grindstone as well. So, man, it's getting chilly. Oh, you hear that? There might be some yoke murder. Opinion on ponds for a fish source? Absolutely, if you got the room to do it. It's getting chilly. Getting chilly. Time to grab the nods. Best battle rifle. Oh, Jason, it depends on what we're doing.
M1A.
Everybody knows it's a scar heavy, bro.
If you enjoy replacing your optics every 2,000 rounds.
I think the M1A is a good answer.
A lot of people are like, but the M1A isn't used by the military.
It's still used by the military.
Yeah, it's called the M14, guys.
Yeah, and it's still in service. There are people getting schwacked with that in Afghanistan from one ridge to another right now.
DR's field.
Yep. Can I be that Mosin guy? Absolutely, you sure can. If you got a whole bunch of 7.62 by 54 rimmed laying around, you can absolutely be that Mosin guy. That's awesome. 300 Win Mag. Who's gonna get schwacked?
300 black.
Okay, it's motion jotty. It's okay. It's okay. Fine. Mini 14. No way, man. I love the Mini for what it is, but gosh dang, that thing, it's difficult to hit the broadside of a barn at range with the Mini 14. It just can't hold a group at all. Now, I've heard rumor that there are certain Minis with no rhyme or reason why that actually hold 1 MOA, but in the vast majority of Minis are a 3 to 4 MOA rifle for $900. You can go buy a Smith & Wesson M&P Sport 2 or a Ruger AR-556 and still have money to buy magazines, ammo, and an optic if you want for $900 and get essentially a 1.5, 2 MOA gun that's twice as accurate as the Mini.
It's for those people that live in California.
Yeah, I like the form factor of the Mini. I really do. I like the Mini. I just wish that the thing was actually worth shooting. Because I don't want to have to, especially for varminting, I don't want to squeeze the trigger 3 or 4 times. I just want the round to go where I want it to go the first time.
I wish the mags were cheaper.
Yeah, that's another thing, too. The availability and price of the magazines, like if the Mini 14 ran M4 magazines and was a 1.5 MOA gun, that thing would be so much better.
If you're going to buy one, you might as well buy 2 of them so you have spare parts.
Yeah. That's another good point.
Not saying that they're unreliable and that they're going to fail, but eventually, they're going to fail, like everything else.
Somebody at Ruger should make the Mini run AR-15 mags and fix the damn accuracy issues. Those two, I'd spend $1,000 on a Mini that took AR-15 mags because I've got dozens and dozens and dozens of those magazines. And again, compatibility, interoperability, right? That matters. And if it actually, plus running an optic on a Mini if you wanted to is not necessarily the easiest thing. And so, it's antiquated technology. Is it good technology? Yeah, at the time it definitely was. It's a Mini battle rifle.
Save yourself the money and get a Marlin 1894 S and 44 Magnum.
And also a good shoulder surgeon on retainer.
Dude, I can't wait to go shoot that thing.
Yeah, so that when you separate all the tendons in your shoulder socket, you already can get an appointment.
I mean, you could run 44 Special if you want to.
44 Special costs twice as much as 44 Magnum.
But it doesn't hurt.
Nah.
It's not as fun.
When you hurt, you know it's working.
Yep.
Kind of like when your balls tingle from Hero Soap. You know what I mean?
Hero Soap Company.
Is Squid in here? Wait a minute. Is Squid in here? Where's my Squidward? Where is he? I don't see him. Squid? Squidward tentacles. Oh, I thought Squid Actual was in here. You got my hopes up. He's dipping Big's hamburger flavor seeds right now. Not our Squid. Oh, I know, Badger. I got my hopes up. 30-06 has never failed me. That's a good round, bro. 22-250. Yeah, Andrew Barnes, 22-250 is a good round unless you hit a twig and that little tiny 45 grain, 50 grain bullet deflects. I've seen that happen. But depending on what you're shooting, que pasa, Frank Figueroa. Figueroa. Where do you find discount code on Patreon? Read the description in the bear brief that gets posted every single day. Back in the day, you were correct. What's your beef with 300 Win Mag? Gosh, I don't have a beef with 300 Win Mag. I have a beef with people who are constantly asking if they should buy a 300 Win Mag that can't shoot a rifle at 300 yards. As if that somehow the possession of a 300 Win Mag all of a sudden will enable them to miraculously hit a man-sized silhouette target at 12, 14, 1800 meters, which it will not. And so my answer to 300 Win Mag in a tactical scenario, should I buy one, is if you can ring steel at 1,000 with 308, go for it. Otherwise, why? Well, it hits harder. Yeah, it does. It definitely hits harder than 308. It also kicks harder, it costs more, and it's not as available as 308.
Shot placement matters more.
And shot placement matters more. I'll give you that as well. And so, you know, if you can actively and adequately, regularly engage targets 800 to 1,000 meters with a 308, sure. Now, and I'll also say this: you don't need my damn permission to buy a 300 Win Mag. Just buy one. Just quit asking me about it. But if you're begging for my approval for you to possess a 300 Win Mag when you can't hit a steel silhouette at 300 yards with your 308, I do not approve that message. Bear does not approve that message. I would rather you schwack steel at 800 with your 308 all day and then go, hey, you know what? I'm going to investigate 300 Win Mag now because I've figured out how to actually drift my rounds in on target, how to read crosswinds, how to actually dope my shot. I know what the ballistic coefficient of this ammo is. I know that when this bore is cold versus this bore is hot, my shot placement is here or here. I've figured out all of these things. Now I'm going to go drop money on a real long-range rifle rather than spending money on equipment that you don't know how to use and think that somehow possessing that equipment is going to give you the proficiency to use it. That's my beef with 300 Win Mag. Because there's a lot of people that own 300 Win Mag rifles that are lucky to get a shot on a deer-sized target at 250 meters with it. That's why.
I've seen people miss at 10 feet with a 9mm.
Yeah, I've seen people miss at 10 feet with a 9mm. Great statement. Somebody asked how you like that Victos hoodie.
I like it.
Cool. You answer that while I go get something to put on my body to keep me warm
boy.
as well. Oh boy.
Oh snap.
Oh snap.
Because I'm blind. You guys are coming closer. Okay. Cool. I'm not a receiver. I was a linebacker. So, what's going on? What's up, Carrie? What's up, everybody? Viking Preparedness. What's going on? Thank you for those plates, bro. Seriously, like, the lady at the post office, I felt so bad when she was taking them out of the back room. I was like, I'll take those from you. So. Can a Bushmaster 450 round be effective in SHTF situations? Bro, any round can be effective. It's just, how often are you going to be able to get more of said round? I like my military calibers is what I stick to. 9mm, 45, 12 gauge, 5.56, 308. That's what I'm sticking with. Beowulf. Yep. Phelps, what's going on? What is going on? Joshua, bless you, brother. I dig it. I dig that combo. 30-30 ain't bad. Patrick, if we went to war with China, my gut feeling, if we went to war with China and it turned into a ground battle, right? Like a ground fight, there would probably be a draft. I'd be I would feel comfortable saying that if we went to war with China, the draft would be a thing again, because this would be a war the likes of which that nobody on this planet has ever seen. The closest thing that can come to it would be our World War II veterans, which there's not very many of them anymore. And there's a draft during World War II. There would be a draft with a war with China, because the casualty rates would be staggering. The casualty rates in that war would be devastating. They'd have to have a draft to replace the people that they lost. They'd have to.
3-1. I like them odds.
It's a little higher than that, bro.
They got $1 billion. We got 340 million.
They say they have 1 million infantrymen, estimation, 1 million riflemen.
Cool.
That's like the entire army. That's just the riflemen.
They say lots of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily
really
believe them.
anything they say.
Yeah.
This is what our intel is saying. So. But then again.
Yeah. Raj.
But no, to get back to your question, I do like the Victos hoodie. I don't know if they make the Spartan color anymore. Last time I checked, they discontinued Spartan. But yeah, just their EDC hoodie, man, with the zippers and the false pockets, but they actually have real pockets. I mean, I concealed carried with this hoodie for, geez, since before I met you. I think I'm wearing this thing pretty regularly. So I dig it. I like it. Still going strong. Almost every day.
Is that the hoodie that the tweakers thought you were a tweaker in?
Yes. This is the hoodie that the tweakers thought that I was a tweaker in, because olive drab shoes, coyote brown pants, and an olive drab hoodie with a Black Rifle coffee hat totally yelled tweaker.
In Florida. Yeah.
In Florida, yep.
Phelps, bless you, brother. First year putting in my 800 square foot garden, I've got sugar sand soil. Yep, with very little organic matter. Do you think adding compost will be sufficient to grow crops? I would definitely add compost. I would also look at adding some peat moss to that as well to give it some more body, just to hold it all together. Because if it's sand, drains really fast, and so you want something to help hold some moisture in there, Phelps. So compost for sure. Also look at peat moss, and then you could probably top dress with carbon, whether that was straw or wood chips, pine shavings, something like that. Hell, even grass clippings. Just top dress over the top of that, and as it breaks down, it'll make nice black soil underneath, in between your existing soil later and the top of your carbon, and keep doing that. And then at the end of each season, turn that into the soil, and then top dress again next year, and then with compost and peat moss again next year. And every year it's just going to get a little bit better and a little bit better. But for sure, compost, and then I would probably add some peat moss to that as well, just to give it some freaking body, man, because that sand is not going to hold moisture. And you do want it to hold moisture, and you want to create an environment that's conducive to all, the soil mycorrhizae and the microorganisms getting in there, and the worms and all that stuff, so that your plants will flourish. And then, like I said, top dress with carbon, and as that carbon breaks down over time. And the other nice thing about top dressing with carbon is, for example, wood chips, like wood shavings. When you see something growing up through the wood shavings, it is not the plants you planted, that's a weed. Pull that sucker, right? And it allows you to visually stay on top of it. So that's what I got for you, bro. I appreciate you. Thank you. Who dat? Who dat 999? Who done did that? KR Kilea. I'm in North Jersey. I'm a new gun owner, and I bought the only gun that I was familiar with, a Ruger 1022. Should my next purchase be a pistol or a higher caliber long gun? Gosh, man, it depends on what you're doing with it. I would think that you've already got a long gun, be it a 22, which I am on the record repeatedly saying I will not bet my life on a 22, but hey, that's what you got, so it's better than nothing. But I think your next, the next thing I would go with is a handgun, probably a 9x19, and something that's large enough that you can shoot it competently, but small enough that you could conceal it if you had to. That's what I would think. preferably something with a rail on it that you could put a light on it if you had to use it for home defense so that you can illuminate your target so you have positive identification of your target. Blah, 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 blah. But that's what I would do. What do you think, Mr. Gun Guy?
Well, you have a rifle. Again, I wouldn't trust my life to rimfire because the manufacturing of the primer for that round is very inconsistent.
Indeed.
So you'll pull the trigger and
Click.
yeah, click happens instead of bang. That's no bueno. Now, as a good platform to train with for rifle, yeah, that's not bad. I would suggest, if it's for the purpose of, because you're not, like you said, you're a new gun owner, you don't have the training, I'm assuming, to grab an AR-15 and throw on plate carriers and go fight the Third World War, right? But a handgun, being able to be proficient with it in a self-defense situation, not going to the range and just plinking at a target that's, 10 yards, 15 yards away, but to also move into the force-on-force aspect of it and like a specific to concealed carrying class with actual training. Also, I mean, you have the SIG P365. You can get that in 380 if you wanted to. I don't like micro compacts like the Shield. I think they're, because I had one. I had a Smith & Wesson M&P Shield 9mm, and I had an issue with it would just kick the back of your hand, dude. I could hold on to it really well, but it was so small that I had issues with it because of how small it was. A couple of friends of mine got the 365 and the 365 EZ, and I'm like, they're good to go. I like them. They have decent round capacity. They're not single stacked. They are double stacked. And, I mean, get a caliber that's right for you. I mean, the smallest I would go with, self-defense wise, would be a 380 at the absolute smallest. 9mm preferred.
I think 9mm is a good way to go just because of availability of ammo. Although 380 is really catching on.
It's really cheap too.
But like, I think still statistically, 8 out of all 10 handguns in the world are 9x19. So it's a safe bet to go with 9x19 because ammo availability now and post-event, if something happens, will be way up there. It's also a commonly issued military caliber, so...
Well, that's my thing with the 9mm. If we were to go into a global conflict, that 9mm might, Uncle Sam might go ahead and just procure all that.
Yeah. Well...
So...
Yeah.
Get it while you can. You can get... I mean, obviously, look out for price gouging, but you can get 1,000 rounds for plus or minus $400. Any higher than that, you're getting gouged.
Well, also, I think Palmetto still has Beretta 92s from the Italian police right now for $329. It's, I mean, they're used, but that's a good, proven 9mm platform.
I'm not telling you guys to buy these items, but there's a website called bulkammo.com, and I mean 500, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 rounds, they might have what you're looking for.
Yeah. I've also had good success with ammoman.com. Pastor Joe turned me on to Ammoman, and they've always been good to me anyway. But yeah, I'd say a 9mm, probably, like, again, and I'm not a fanboy per se, but I'm just very familiar with Glocks. And a Glock 19 size gun that's big enough to use for go to war stuff and small enough that if you had to conceal it, you could. So
look at a Glock 19, a P320 compact, a Smith & Wesson M&P compact, and those are my top three right there. Smith or SIG, Glock, M&P. They have all those guns that are literally competing against each other. So I like the modularity of the SIG though. So
Tannerite for perimeter defense and area denial. Previous super chat. Roger. So question. Well, let's speak in hypotheticals. Once upon a time, I had a conversation with a brother, and hypothetically discussed in this conversation was the concept of area denial, and hypothetically discussed was taking hypothetically a 4-inch square PVC junction box with a bolt-on cover and screwing that to the backs of trees at known distances from a fixed position where somebody would hypothetically be with a weapon, and putting in said box tannerite and hot sauce, and
Spicy.
hypothetically spraying said gray PVC box certain colors so that they would match the landscape and the foliage, and hypothetically using that as a way to perhaps hypothetically deny access to a given area. So yeah, we're not going to pray for anybody to die, Smooth Cat, even though I don't like RBG, so how about we shut that down? Roger that. Yeah.
I like fireworks for, hey, people are over there.
Yeah.
Like mortars.
Karen Martin, bless you.
It's literally the 4th of July.
Yeah.
It's amazing what a 2.5-inch mortar tube can do with, you know, the proper ability with, you know, just to be able to make it go off if you're to go walking through it. And I mean, you can keep the tube dry with just a very thin layer of saran wrap, and it'll go 200, 300 feet in the air.
Plus, you know,
you will know.
I really like thump. You know, thump is great.
Yeah.
So many of my favorite things go thump. So
I had a thing that I made a bet with an instructor that I would make a thing that went thump go through a window that was 600 yards away, and I won.
That's awesome.
600 yards with something that goes thump.
Fire for effect, exactly. What's your take on belt-fed uppers for 5.56 at Bear Independent? You know, Jake, that's a great question. I'll tell you this. I don't get all warm and fuzzy in my pantalones at the concept of a $3,500 belt-fed upper.
That's semi-auto.
Well, binary trigger.
Are awesome.
Perhaps. 24-inch heavy barrel, perhaps. Now, see, Zach at The Revolting Man, another great YouTube channel, great Patreon channel, has been building what he's called his base of fire rifle, which is a 24-inch heavy barrel, 5.56 upper, binary trigger. I think he's got an A2 or an A1 stock on it because he's old school Marine Corps. But essentially trying to build, to the best of his ability, given his budget, the equivalent of a 249. And I think if you had the belt and you had a binary trigger and you had all that stuff and you had a heavy barrel and you could do all of those things and put an ACOG or something like that on it, or whatever, you know, whatever floats your boat. Yes, you could do something like that, and you could potentially circumnavigate the volume of fire issue that the air quote militia would have given certain scenarios when combating certain air quote enemies.
Can I jump in there real quick?
Absolutely, get some.
It would not be a bad idea to have a complete upper identical as the one that you have on the lower, with all the parts involved, because I can do a barrel swap. I was able to do a barrel swap with a saw in under 20 seconds.
Right. Pin the upper.
I can do the same thing with an AR upper and lower receiver if it already has the charging handle and the bolt carrier group and the optic, and all I have to do is push pins, lift, put down, push pins, done.
Yep.
Barrel swap is for real. Like, you go through 200 rounds, you're swapping barrels.
Yep.
Like, and it was like, I think it was like 60 seconds. Like, once you went through 60 seconds of a not cyclet rate, but suppressing rate, which is Die, fluffy bunny, die. Get some release. Pause for effect. Die, fluffy bunny, die. Get some release. Pause for effect. And you do that for an entire belt, you're swapping a barrel when you're done with that belt.
Yep.
So, like, barrels get really hot really fast. 6 to 8 round burst. 4 trigger pulls with a binary. It's pretty easy to do. My buddy can run a binary literally just as fast as a full auto. Like, he has the rhythm down, and it's awesome.
Barrel swap. So that's what I think about that. However, and I like the idea of having a second upper ready to go to just swap pins, push pins and swap. That's awesome.
I would go with a piston system too.
Well,
to be honest, if you're gonna spend the money on that, just get the piston system, man, so you don't overheat your bolt group.
Well, yeah, and you could theoretically blow a hole in your gas tube. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that could happen there.
I told you what happened with my bolt group on that M4, and that was 300 rounds in 3 minutes.
Well, you're talking
destroyed it.
You're talking $8,000 between uppers, barrels, charging handles, and BCGs without optics right there.
Yeah.
So to have 2 of them. So, but if you'd rather do that than have something that's got a tax stamp and is transferable, you do you. So
all the links.
All of them.
All of them. Save them suckers, and yeah.
Yankee, what's the best knife in your opinion? Don't ask him.
I'm not a knife guy, man.
I borrowed his knife, and then
it's a K-bar.
And then I sharpened his knife.
I would say that. Well, you say that when people ask you what's the best gun, and you say the one that fits in your hand. It's the same thing with knives, man. The one that fits in your hand, because I've held knives.
Davis USA.
Love,
thank
and
you.
I'm like, I hate your knife. Like.
Thank you, Davis. And then Nicholas, may you please touch on what's best for compost? 556 and more knife shavings or kitchen scraps and chicken poop. What's best for compost? Uncooked food, blood, guts, bones, and gore from all your butchering. All of the poop that you can get. And we do the deep bedding method on all of our animals, which means the moment it begins to smell, you add more bedding until literally it's like a foot thick, and then we muck, because it takes just as much time essentially to muck when it's a foot thick as it does when it's 2 inches thick. But by continuously building that volume of carbon, again, straw, newspaper, old hay, wood shavings, wood chips, peat moss, whatever you got, when it smells, you cover that with carbon. And then the carbon neutralizes the smell, the ammonia and the sulfur and all of that. And then all that just starts to kind of organically compost on its own anyway. You muck all of that, you throw that in the compost pile. And then if you have decent native soil, it's okay to add some native soil to that for sure. You're basically building a lasagna. Grass trimmings, yard clippings, leaves, pine needles, not so much. Pine needles take a couple, 3 years to decompose, and they're highly acidic. But, hardwood leaves, and leaf litter, paper, cardboard, like I said, kitchen scraps, all of that is all good for the compost pile. And it really, what you're doing is, or at least what we've done, is composting the carbon that has captured all of the urea and the nitrogen of the poo and the pee from the animals. And again, we let it, you've mucked with us, we let it get thick, because it's going to take just as much time to muck it when it's thick.
Dude, the compost pile after just the sheep pen, like
the size of your Jeep.
Yeah, literally. Like it was a very small compost pile, but it was still impressive. But then after the sheep pen, it literally quadrupled in size.
All the bodies.
Yeah.
All the bodies.
Like, it was huge. Like, that was a good day.
Yeah.
So, and it's nice too because like it didn't even smell bad.
Yeah.
Like pulling it out, it was literally dirt at that point, other than the very top layer of the bedding that was there.
And
the rest of it was dirt.
That's what I'm getting at is by doing that deep bedding method. You know, when you take a foot of that out, it's already composting below that top layer. You know, and what you find underneath usually is just beautiful black dirt. So that's what I would do.
Yeah. Seems to be working. I can't wait to see the yield this year.
Oh man, it's gonna be awesome. Are the mods killing it? Sorry, kids, clearing my coffee pot. Amendment 1 preparedness, bless you. Yeah. Fish cuttings, all that. Want to build first chicken coop, any pointers? Absolutely. So, first things you got to understand with chickens, and I've made this point on YouTube, on Patreon, over and over and over again. You have to quintessentially understand chickens do 3 things. They lay eggs, they make meat, and they die. Okay, chickens do 3 things. They lay eggs, they make meat, and they die. If you can wrap your mind around that, you'll be good. Chickens need a dry place that is ventilated and stays above freezing, but does not get above 120 degrees. Okay, so in the winter, generally speaking, you would close that ventilation up, and we've hung a light bulb in a chicken coop. And that one light bulb is enough to keep them all warm so that they don't die when it's below freezing. And really it's below 20 degrees, but below freezing, a light bulb works. However, never hang a freaking heat lamp in your chicken coop or anywhere else without taking baling wire and hardwiring it so that it cannot fall and start a fire. It's like the #1 way that chicken coops burn down. And chicken coops tend to be near people's houses, which means your house also burns down. So do not trust the little spring clip on your heat lamp. Take baling wire, drill a hole, run it through the clamp, through the hole, and twist the ever-loving crap out of it so that it cannot fall into your fresh shavings that you just put in there to make your compost and burn your damn chicken coop down.
I've never heard in the news chicken coop fire on Second Street, and
it happens all the time, bro.
About it, man. That's like not something that I think about.
Ours almost burnt down. We got a hole burnt in the floor of our chicken coop. Joe Rogan's chicken coop burnt down. He was talking about it on some podcast.
Been a recent one.
It happens all. No, this is a few months ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Even Joe Rogan has chickens.
See? But it happens all the time.
He knows what's up.
They need to stay dry. Chicken wire is great. The small chicken wire, about the size of a quarter or maybe a silver dollar, the holes. But down low, you want to use welded wire and like a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch or a 1 inch by 1 inch. Here's why. Chickens are dumb enough that they will sit near the wire, and a raccoon can and will reach through the chicken wire and grab a chicken head and pull it and bite it and sit there. Chickens will sit there and get their damn heads bit off. And you know what happens? The ones next to them, they go, and they just sit there and they're like,
what do we do?
Oh crap, Tim just got his head bit off, bro. Did you see that?
Dude,
they're
that
like,
was crazy.
Bro, and then the raccoon's
I can't
like,
look away.
ah! And they're like,
Timmy, don't look at the light. I can't help it.
So I've literally watched this. I've literally watched this happen. And so you don't want the wire down by the ground to have openings big enough that raccoons or possums can reach in with their little hands and grab chickens and pull them out and bite their heads off.
They literally have little hands.
I shot a raccoon right here with a .22 long rifle at 10 feet and it had a chicken head in its mouth, and it sneezed and white chicken feathers flew out of its mouth. I was like, you gotta be effing S-ing me, bro. I was like, what? I mean, point blank, pah! And it went, and just feathers flew out of it. And the chicken head was in its mouth. It fell out, and the chicken body was in the coop going while its head was in its mouth. And I'm like, and then again, getting back to like, I'm gonna bet my life on .22 long rifle. I shot a freaking raccoon in the face at 10 feet with it. Now, granted, they're rodents-ish. They have slanted foreheads and they have a lot of bone structure right here. But it ricocheted at 10 feet. Ricocheted off of here and it caused it to sneeze, not die. So, look at Moshe's super chat. I don't see Moshe's super chat, bro. I see Davis A. I see Phelps. I see Josh Whitehead. I don't see Moshe's super chat.
Blue one, I think it disappeared.
Oh, I didn't see it, man. So, anyway, yeah, keep them dry. They need, they don't like it too breezy, but they do need some cross ventilation. And if you are trying to, any advice going to basic on the 12th, hold that. We'll come right back to that. And if you are trying to make compost, make a chicken coop with a chicken run, meaning an outside area that you let them out into and then they frolic in that run. And then you fill that run full of your compost, or not your compost, your carbon, and chickens will make that into soil real quick. Cool. Got it, A1P. Thank you. Going to basic on the 12th. Any advice? Harden up.
Move. When you're told to do something, move with a sense of purpose. You will figure that out regardless. Speak with a sense of purpose. Speak with a sense of volume. Even if you're screaming at the top of your lungs and blood's coming out of your mouth, it doesn't matter. Scream. Yell, like from the diaphragm, right? And everything that you do has a reason behind it, regardless of how stupid it may seem. We did, I'm not even going to spoil the fun, but we did something inside of the squad bays all the time that physically sucked and mentally was annoying. And I came to realize, oh, this is really easy, low crawling through all of this sand and dirt and mud and going underneath all this barbed wire. Wow. I didn't know that at the time, but now looking back at it, I'm like, oh, that's what that one stupid thing that they were making us do was for, to develop those muscles to do things like that, right? It's all for a purpose, man. Regardless if you understand the reason or not in the moment, it doesn't matter. Just do it. Just do it. It's mainly mental in comparison to physical, but there still is a physical requirement. And do not quit for any reason. Failure is not an option, and you don't want to be that guy. Don't be that guy that gives up, because you have to live with that for the rest of your life. That's it. That's all I got.
Yotes. Oh gosh.
Dude, the comments are flying.
Gregory August. Hey guys, first AR-15 build, 300 Blackout or 6.5 Grendel. Neither.
Black, bro.
Neither. 5.56 by 45 millimeter NATO. That's why. That's the answer.
Your
Neither.
first AR build or your first owned AR?
If it's your first build, and those are my only two options, 300 Blackout over 6.5 Grendel.
We're quiet.
But
Subsonic.
5.56. If it's your first AR, Ginger Beast, don't make me. If it's your first AR, 5.56 for all the wins. All options are on the table. 5.56. Do it. Do it. Basic training prep. Look at your branch's physical readiness standards and make sure you can exceed the standards. Great point, Matthew.
He's leaving on the 12th, so he doesn't really have any more time for that.
He can start, though. You got a week.
Dude, seriously, get your endurance up. That is the biggest thing in boot camp. Get your endurance
Pinkies up. Hey, Sam.
Did you go kill the bad guys?
Dad, I ate all the coyotes.
Good
They were
job, Sam.
delicious.
Good job.
I know you don't eat things with paws, but I do. They were so tasty, Dad.
Friggin' Bubba today.
How was it? Dad, I killed them. I killed them all. Killed them all, Dad.
I got hit by a 2-ton pickup truck and I'm fine.
And I'm fine.
No, literally.
I
For those of you
dented that
that are
guy's
new,
wheels.
for those of you that are new and are not tracking on this dog literally like a month and a half ago got hit
That
by
one.
a 2-ton pickup truck, and he's perfectly fine.
Yep.
At like 35, 40, 45 miles an hour, and he's good.
120 pounds of, he loves us and he'll kill you.
Yeah.
Love him. His ARF is getting very impressive. He barks and then he has an ARF. And
He's what, like just under a year old?
he's just over a year.
Just over a year.
And his ARF is like, oh, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna rip your nuts off and enjoy eating them. Kind of oof, oof. That.
Especially when you wash with Hero Soap Coat.
Hero soap, because they're so tangly.
So tingly. Like it.
Okay, Yankee and Bear, I don't want to keep buying firearms endlessly. 22s, 12 gauge, 9mm, 45, AK, 8 or 10. What am I missing, or am I good at all things? Come at me, bro. But, all right, he has 22s, he has a 12 gauge, he has 9mm, he has 45, he has an AK, he has AR-10s, bolt action 30-06. What am I missing, or am I good for all things? Come at me, bro.
I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah, man, the only thing that jumps out at me is, and this is just something that's been on my mind lately, that I'm doing more of, is 20 gauges for kids and women, because they're just super accessible, and they're like, everybody in my house can shoot a 20 gauge, not everybody in my house can shoot a 12. So, Okie, keep it up, keep it up, keep it up, Okie. I know where you live. I'll show you 300 Win Mag, Okie.
Now, you have a pretty good stockpile of whatever you got. You got a good arsenal when it comes to like modern day technology for defense.
Train
right?
with them. Great point.
One, train with them, exactly. Second, I don't think it's a bad idea to have a couple of guns that people wouldn't look at, or that people would look at, or the government would look at and be like, oh, that's fine, you can have that. Like,
Lever
cool.
action.
I'm gonna keep my lever action that holds 10 rounds. Cool. I'm gonna keep my, I love having a 357 Magnum revolver and a lever action in 357 Magnum as well.
Absolutely.
Because 357 is cheaper than 44 mag, because I think like a box of 50 is like $70. It's expensive, and I mean,
And it's 357.
Yeah, it's 357 mag, man. I mean, I'm not trying to punch out 200 yards, but you put, you get a Marlin 1894 in 357 mag and put a fixed 4.
Be right back.
Or a 2x or a 2x6 or a 2x8 on top of it. You're good. Like, you shouldn't be wanting to put yourself in a situation where you would have to use it other than taking an animal for food anyway. But I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing to have some guns in your arsenal that the government might allow you to continue to have because they're not scary looking. You know what I mean? Because it's better than not having anything, right? Bear's gone. Bear left. He'll be back, though. I promise. Maybe. Unless he goes upstairs and goes to bed. Tell him 10 millimeter is the best millimeter. Man, I think like 357 SIG is the best. My new area of living, dude, I love it. Yesterday it was 92 degrees and humid, and it's a different kind of humid, but it's a different kind of heat also. The angle of the sun here is a lot different than Pennsylvania. Like, the sun is like right over the top of the sky for me, and it's like before it would be like kind of up in the sky, not directly above my head, so it's a little different for sure. So
You're up in the sky, not
I'm
above
up in
my
the
head.
sky. Yeah, the angle of the sun is different here compared to Pennsylvania.
So true.
It's literally closer to being directly
All the
over top
true.
of me. So
Puzzleman wants to know if the nettles are working for you.
yes, I take the I do what you said in the card, and bless you, brother, for that stuff.
Thank you.
Definitely made a difference. When I was cutting a cedar tree today, the cedar tree was like, huh, your nettles can't stop me, but then, took a shower and I'm good.
So cute. I want to show you guys something that doesn't exist.
Yes. Ish.
No, it doesn't exist. This is a concept right now. Our very own Badger sent me an email recently, and he said, hey man, you got the bear fac, which is great, and you've got the stomp bag, which is awesome, but what about something in between? And specifically what Badger was saying was using the pack insert in this from the stomp bag as something that could be put into somebody else's pack that was, you know, specifically built out with medical capability that could be added to a pack. And that's probably something I'm gonna do. Haven't made it that far yet, just with as busy as we've been. But I've had this pouch in the office for, oh man, months. And I bought it just to test out the quality of this provider. And then today, while I was there, I figured I'd just go ahead and play with it. And so this doesn't exist. I'm just gonna show you all a concept. This bag right here, which of course looks cool with this patch on it. This bag right here. I'll just briefly go through it and show you what's in here. We've got a Sharpie up here, and then there's 5 pairs of gloves right here, good to go. Because, you know, we're preppers, so we still have gloves. Then I got 2 6-inch trauma dressings here. And then up here, you got your shears. And then kind of like right here, mini pharmacy. So you got your oral rehydration salts and ammonia inhalants and Advil and aspirin and all of that. Get in there. And I don't know about this pouch. I might just have Cody make one that's comparable. Over here on the side, this little pocket, we've got a SWAT tee, and then a roll of duct tape, and then some tiny gauze, and some band-aids, and then some sutures are up in there. So
one of those in my Jeep, man, in my work truck, if I had a work truck.
Back in the day when you had a work truck,
Back
in the future.
Yeah, my little Toyota with the inline 4.
So kind of a, you know, just a nice little pocket right there. Then right here out front, got 2 quick clot rolled gauze right there, getting all washed out in the light. 2 quick clot rolled gauze, and then here got some tape. You can tell this was just thrown together. Tape, cohesive bandage, and then some compressed gauze, a couple of compressed gauze, some 4x4s and some 2x2s and a triangle bandage, more wound dressing type stuff. And then kind of the heart of the thing that I thought was kind of cool was in here. I've got 1, hold that, 2 bare minimum inserts with the combat gauze up top, and then some emergency blankets, you know, Mylar blankets for, you know, preventing shock on casualties and so forth and so on. But it's just a concept as far as having more capability than what one would have in a bear fac, but having more portability than what one would have in a stomp bag in a kit that's, you know, probably halfway between the price point of the bear fac and the stomp bag. So I might just keep this one just cause I kind of like it, but I don't know. Just something I'm playing with. Wanted to show y'all. Happy anniversary, Sheepdog Patriot. Bless you, brother. Thank you for everything you do. So, yeah, little sling bag. This is the exact same bag that My Medic, the company My Medic, uses for their one of their big kits that they have. And actually, Fingernail has a My Medic bag that he got before we started producing kits. And I saw it and I was like, I like that bag. And I found the manufacturer, third-party manufacturer, and ordered this bag just to play with it. And I think we could probably do something better than My Medic does with the same bag. So just wanted to show you. That's like just a little R&D. Yeah, it's a sling bag, man.
I dig it.
Yeah, so. I tell you what, it's about the time for the beds.
Yeah, dude, I'm smoked.
Right, me too.
I cut down 20-ish trees.
Yeah, thank you, D. Tell them about cutting down trees just a little bit.
Cutting down trees are fun. There's definitely a technique involved with it. It is physically demanding, holding that chainsaw and knowing. It's weird, man, because like I wield the blade of the chainsaw like a rifle barrel.
The bar.
Yeah, but it's like I don't want this to touch me. And it's like the safety. Like if I'm moving around and I got to do something, boom, I'm locking it in place. I know a lot of guys don't do that. It's like, no, I'm not gonna slip and fall and have, accidentally squeeze the trigger and have a chainsaw just, gears of war me through my chest. I will admit, I did pinch the bar. Tree was blown in the wind. I thought it was like a breeze that
Lucas,
just was there.
email me, November Tango X-Ray Mike Alpha Golf, November Tango X-Ray Mike Alpha Golf, gmail.com. Go ahead.
Pinched the bar, looked up at the tree, thought it wanted to fall one way, and I guess that was like a little constant breeze that was holding it in that direction. Breeze went away, and I'm like, halfway through my cut, and then all of a sudden, and now the tree's to the other direction. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Thanks. Hey, T, I got the bar stuck. So, but I mean, like, dude, my forearms are tight right now from just holding that up. Like, there's so much technique to it. You got to really be cautious with, like, it's like, oh, is there anybody that this tree's gonna fall on? No, cool. Oh, what other trees is this tree gonna fall into, and is it actually going to fall? Like, for real.
Roger,
Hey.
Lucas.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Definitely had to put the chainsaw down and kind of get on the tree and kind of push it a few times, but I would prefer to cut trees that didn't have leaves on them, but you can't really tell which trees are alive and which ones are dead if they're freshly dead. But I mean, it's fun. You just got to be really smart about it, and you definitely need to have training with how to properly cut down trees. Like,
So what we're doing is we're cutting in a road to where the range is going to be, and then once
the
that's
road's pretty much done.
the road's done.
We're at the firing line now.
Yeah, we're at the firing line, and then once that happens, once you get your landing established, you get in, you got your roads cut. The landing would be where we came in off of that hayfield, so like your entry onto the property. Then you get a hole cut in the canopy, and then you can start felling your trees into the hole in the canopy so that they're not getting hung up on each other. And that makes things a lot safer and a lot more expedient for processing. But establishing a landing and getting a road cut in is what we did today. And then once that happens, we can go ahead and, thin that canopy out so we have a lot more lanes to drop trees into.
Well, sometimes you got to just kind of grab some rope and come along and make a tree.
Yeah, make it happen.
Make a tree fall the way you want it to, because
Yeah.
the tree's like, no, I don't want to fall where you guys want me to, and it's like, we don't care. But that'll be dealt with probably going to happen later, unless it's like, hey, we have a track hoe.
There is a tourniquet on the outside, bro. I appreciate the input, though. And again, it's a concept. It's a concept. So,
But
good night, y'all. But does it what?
But does it have a bar of Tingle Bells soap in it?
Tingle bells, I like it. It could.
It could.
It could.
Got to clean the wound, man.
That's right. Shalom, y'all. You have a
y'all.
wonderful night. Thank you all for everything. Thanks for Steele, of course, Andrew. Of course. Thank you for hanging out with us. We appreciate y'all. Hey, I'll see y'all for the brief tomorrow, and then I'm going to be out of pocket for a few days. I'll address that on the brief tomorrow. But if you don't see me for a few days, don't freak out. Everything's fine. Just, got some squirrel stuff to do somewhere else, so it'll be all right. Shalom, y'all.